The transport in Pro Tools acts just like the transport on any tape deck you may have used in the past. There are, however, a few things that you probably wouldn't find on a standard tape deck, so let's take a look at how it works. If you don't see the transport, you can bring it up by going up to the window menu here, and going right down here, and selecting transport. You can also use the key command, Control in numpad 1, or Command in numpad 1 if you're on the Mac. Next, let's make sure we're seeing the whole picture. Go to the View menu, go down here to Transport, and make sure you check all of these options here. We can actually get to them by clicking on this little arrow here as well. There we go, that's all of them. Let's just take a quick look at what all these buttons and displays are for. This first button here is the Online button. This button's used primarily when you're syncing Pro Tools with external devices. You can see the button shows up again right here. We're going to take a look at sync in a later level in the series. The next button right here is Return to 0. This will always take you back to the beginning of your session. This transport also features most of the standard playback functions like rewind, fast forward, stop, play, and record. Right here, we have the Go to End button. Clicking on this takes you to the end of the session. We can pop back to the front again by clicking Return to 0. Perfect. Next to the Record button, we have these handy little LEDs here. The top one is the Record Status LED. If we arm a track for recording over here, you'll see it light up. This lets us know that we have a track armed for recording somewhere in our project. Below that, we have the Input Status LED. This lets us know that input monitoring is enabled on a track in Pro Tools. We'll talk more about input monitoring later on. The display here allows us to view and set the pre- and post-roll time for the transport, allowing us time before recording starts and ends. We also have the display here for the start time, end time, and length for the timeline selection. You can see it changing as I make different selections here. Once again, we're going to talk more about selection later on. Next, we have the Sync section, which once again features that Online button. And then we also have a Generate MIDI Timecode button here, which we're going to look at later on. Beside that, we have a time display and a sub-time display. This allows us to view two different time measurements at once. You can change them around by clicking here. Finally, we have a whole bunch of MIDI controls. A lot of these functions may seem foreign to you right now, but don't worry about it. We're going to discuss them all in good time.